Hey, how about now?
Hey,
Man, all those hot jokes. Those were the best jokes we've ever told.
they were really the best takes we've ever given.
Man, I just... Whew.
Were we recording?
We are recording.
Okay, good. At least they're saved for
They're
prosperity.
saved somewhere. Just not on the live stream.
Tone.
Can you hear? Yes, apparently. Yeah, I think they are hearing tones.
Mm-hmm.
We have tone.
I don't understand why this all of a sudden is just like, nah, I'm going to forget your audio device every time you fire this up. I guess it's just another thing I have to throw on the checklist of...
So what are you using the OBS?
Mm-hmm.
Is it part of your scene?
I believe so.
You should add it to your scene. Make sure it's added
in
to
the
your scene.
settings. I mean, it's really more the profile than the scene. But it's all saved.
All right.
I don't know.
Wow.
This is
Checking.
some neckbeardy bullshit
Put
happening.
some games on it. I don't know.
It would be great if some UX or UI designers, UX and UI designers would like go work at OBS.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know anybody in that field, make them go do stuff for OBS.
For free.
For free, yes.
Yeah, go
we
do your
all
shit.
use it. It will get them exposure.
I just don't get it. I mean, like, XSplit that we tried. I mean, God, that's gotten even worse.
Oh, XSplit is bad now too.
And it's like, you have to pay for that.
Great.
Yeah. You right there?
Yeah, I just hit a pocket of rum.
Pocket of rum. Speaking of, I guess if Chuck is getting liquored up. I might-
Yeah, everybody put some alcohol in your drinks. It's fucking BMFcast.
I'm gonna be the DH, designated host.
Oh, okay. You can keep it together.
Yeah.
Not get sloshed with the rest of us. Not get silly on the podcast.
Not feeling it. I'm sorry. I'm just not feeling it.
I'm not even gonna let you yuck my yum. Not tonight. Whatever. I love you, BJ. What? Don't look at me. Don't fucking look at me. What?
You're not drunk in 30 seconds.
You have no idea.
I do.
You don't know how liquor works.
I believe I do.
I know how liquor works. Hey, we got a new sponsor. What?
That's right. I got the bell back, didn't I?
Where was the
Bell.
bell?
The bell's gone all over the place. That was my bell. Or you hit the yeah. That was my bell originally, and then I didn't have a bar, so I think my parents had it for a while, and then they didn't have a bar. And now I have a bar, and the bell just floats around.
I didn't know you drank.
There's a lot of things you don't know about me, Chuck. You could just about fill the fucking Grand Canyon, for example. Sure, I just know that I always wanted to be a dancer. Oh man, remember when he made funny shit?
Yeah, I
that was
do.
great. That was great.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Let's see if my eyes can make it through this.
What's wrong with your eyes?
Too much screen time lately.
You gotta.
You don't need a screen right now.
You gotta unplug.
I know.
You gotta unplug.
Yeah. You also need some
Yeah,
Yeah.
some grease for your.
Yes, squeaky shit. It's got a nice reverb on it, though.
Yeah, it does. It's that spring reverb.
That's the nature sounds of the loon.
Oh, the loon.
The loon.
I want to hear the.
I want to hear the new loons, Norman.
Mackie had a sudden death. He is no longer with us
Yeah.
this week.
It's usually BJ's job to accuse someone of being dead.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to get out in front of it.
Oh, okay.
It's less.
He's dead and I killed him.
Oh well. All right. Well, there it is.
If you must know.
He's fine. He's on a farm.
He's fine. He's just dead and I killed him.
I tried to head it off, but I couldn't do it.
No. In all seriousness, Mackie died on the way back to his home planet.
He's all right. He'll probably be here in the chat soon.
He had to go. His people needed him.
Mm-hmm. So,
Yeah?
you want to talk about the movie?
No, not really.
Sure.
I've had one sip of alcohol, so I'm Chuck drunk.
You want to talk about our weekends?
Yes.
How was your weekend, Chuck?
Pretty good.
Great. PJ, your weekend?
It was all right.
Cool.
It was all right.
Cool.
I had some really good curry this weekend.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like actual curry or the British slang for any Indian food?
No, it was curry. It was
Okay.
curry proper. Vindaloo.
All right.
It's good.
Okay.
Pork vindaloo though, which is kind of unusual for.
A bit.
Yeah.
He's an importer exporter.
Yeah, pork vindaloo is an importer exporter.
Is it like Art Vandelay?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's where I was going.
All right, just making sure I was.
Hey, man.
No, there's a
Following
new curry
along
place
here.
over by my house called Foo Dog Curry Traders. And it's, yeah, I
Man,
know.
that sounds like a rival to the Wu-Tang Clan.
It is. It is.
Or some Sublime lyrics.
Yeah.
Smelled like food dog in the fan.
Foo Dog Curry Traders.
Yeah, it smells like food dog up in here.
Yeah. It's vaguely hipstery. Actually, it's kind of
Super
fairly
hipstery.
hipstery. Yeah.
It's 100% hipster.
But the food is good. So,
How was the food?
good.
Yeah.
The foo is good.
You got good food?
Go foo.
Good food.
Go foo a foo dog.
Aye.
Right.
Hey, let's talk about a movie.
All right.
No,
Sure.
let's talk about our weekend some more.
Hey, how was your weekend, BJ?
That was all right. I had some pretty good curry.
It's curry. It's electric vindaloo over there.
I would absolutely eat electric vindaloo. I wouldn't have a tongue afterwards, but
All right.
it's all right. I'll let my dick do the talking.
Why are you so quiet?
Exactly.
You're going to have to speak up.
It's as loud as I get. I'm sorry. It's a very small microphone.
Caller,
it's
could you? Oh, never mind. You're fine, caller. You don't have to start on your radio.
Ah.
Why is this thing loose again?
You got to stop.
We just need to get new ones of these. I'm convinced.
We did
We
get
got-
the
we gotta
cheapest
use-
ones possible.
We got to use the taxpayers'
Folks,
money.
listen, you got to give us $1 at
Yeah.
patreon.com/BMFcast.
I mean, listen to
we can
this-
replace these fucking things.
Listen to this squeaky week.
Squeaky week.
Squeaky week.
Welcome
thing.
to Squeaky
yeah,
Week.
The squeaky, the squeaky week gets the wheel. I mean, the grease or something.
Is it
Come
like
on.
a squeaky weeket? Is it like weakest did not poop the creature? Squeaky weeket.
Oh, my microphone broke.
I gave her a squeaky weakest.
So for just District $9 a month, you can put all the squeaky weeks.
Yeah.
you need.
Oh.
We're working on the BMFcast tote bags that we can give away.
Yeah.
Oh, I can get a fucking tote bag.
Those are only $250.
Oh, I can get your tote bag by 2:00.
$129 donation. Get you a tote bag and a DVD of our greatest hits.
Ooh, I'll buy that for $129.
It's blank.
It's a good deal.
Here comes the clapping.
All right, now let's not make another joke for 25 minutes.
No, jokes are over.
All right, and welcome to the BMFcast.
Hey, BMFcast.
BMFcast.
Episode 389.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So many numbers.
Ooh.
So I'm Harlow.
I'm BJ,
I'm Chuck.
and Mackey's out this week.
He is. He's on assignment.
On
off
vacation.
saving the world.
Yeah.
Good for
he's-
him.
He's north of the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, what we do each and every episode here of this here BMFcast is we go and we watch ourselves a quote-unquote bad movie, come in here and talk about it for the first half,
Yeah.
and then we rate them. Good bad movies, enjoyable bad movies. They get 1 to 5 jocks and robot jocks.
Robot Jocks.
The best movie ever.
Yep.
However, there are bad movies. As a stay away, they get a negative sliding scale, 1 to 5 bags, as in bags of trash.
Garbage.
Bags, you
Bags. Receptacles for shite.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, so put your shite in a bag.
Like dog poop bags or trash bags
Yes.
or horse bags.
Horse bags.
Yeah,
So,
it's
yeah.
a bag where the horse shit goes in.
So Mackey's not here, so we decided to break our 90-minute rule by 21 whole minutes.
Yeah.
This was a bit of a long movie.
Yeah. By watching 1995's Sudden Death.
Right.
I'm surprised we didn't option out to a musical. But
This had been on the list for a while,
and I
but
believe Mackie has seen this one already.
I believe yes.
Yeah, I think it was another reason.
Yeah.
So let's get a very quick plot summary for this here movie, and we'll talk more about it. A former fireman takes on a group of terrorists holding the vice president and others hostage during the 7th game of the NHL Stanley Cup Finals.
Yep.
It's accurate.
That is what happens.
All right, I guess we rate it.
Yeah.
Well, in case
One
you
of
didn't
five
know,
jocks isn't robot jocks.
in case you didn't know, this is a Van Damme movie.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the BMFcast's own Van Damme.
This is Van Die Hard on ice.
Very good.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get that in there early.
It is.
so that,
Yes, it is. Yeah, this is like, I don't know, the 7th or 8th Van Damme movie.
He's made a few appearances.
He has, yes.
But yes, he is reteaming with his Time Cop director Peter Hyams, and Powers Booth. Powers Booth is in this movie.
The recently departed Powers Booth.
And some other people. I mean, people you recognize, but like those.
Luke
are
Robitaille
Huh?
of the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Oh, okay, an actual hockey player.
Sure.
Actual hockey player.
Yeah. that
Okay.
guy.
Sure. I'll take your word for that.
Okay.
It's true.
If it's not Wayne Gretzky,
It was also
kinda
in the
lost.
credits.
Oh,
he was
okay.
Luke Robitaille as himself.
well, there you go. I mean, BJ's mostly accurate. This is more or less in the long line of let's do Die Hard in another place.
That is it. Die Hard in a hockey rink.
But the movie opens
Yeah.
and showing him as an active firefighter. There is a building inferno, a blaze happening. The firefighters are not really pointing the water anywhere near the building itself.
Just up,
No,
hoping it'll
Just up.
fall back down
Yeah,
onto
they're
the
just- they're
fire.
just making it rain.
Yeah, I usually do.
And Van Damme, I don't think we never really see him go in. It's just like it's assumed he was one of the first people in, and he's found, I guess, the girl that was missing out of this building.
They don't really give us any setup. They just
No.
like show firefighters running in, and then they cut to him laying on the ground under a bunch of timber.
Yeah, like
that
he-
is on fire.
Like he's already rescued girl.
Right.
Part of the building
Sharing
is
the
collapsed.
oxygen mask with her.
Right, and he's trying to scream for, "Hey, come
Yeah.
help! I found her!" And
Then more building falls on him.
yeah, a considerable more about. And then it's like, well, in case you couldn't breathe underneath all this flaming rubble, they then point the water directly at the pile that they're
Right.
at. And
Uh-huh.
when they dig him out, he's okay. She not so much.
Nope.
So yeah, first 30 seconds, child death.
Right. And he doesn't care for that, so he stops being a firefighter.
Yep, and it's how many years later? 2?
Two.
2 years later.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're 4 hours till face off.
We are. We are not going to watch Face Off though.
No, we should have.
That would have been even longer. That's like a 3-hour movie.
Well, it's not that long, but it's long.
But yeah, I'm assuming it's kind of implied that he is now divorced, probably due to his instability after this incident.
He had a rough 2 years.
Yeah.
Oh, don't they do a little scene before this where he rolls up to it's like his son's birthday or
Oh,
something?
he goes and
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
goes and picks up his
Yeah,
kid.
I'm just saying this is 2 years later. He's rolling up like new
Yeah.
dad is teaching or showing the kid his kid how to hockey in the street.
Yeah. His soon-to-be stepdad.
Yeah. And he just kind of rolls up and it's his son's birthday. And stepdad is very accommodating to him. You
Yeah.
know, like he's just like, hey, cool guy, like, what's up?
Yeah.
And he's like, it's my son's birthday. I don't do a Van Damme accent.
All right.
Sorry.
That's fine.
Just pretend you're from Brussels.
I don't know that one.
I'm sorry, he's from Canada in this?
Yeah.
He's
yeah,
Canadian.
He's Brusnadian.
He couldn't be from New Orleans in this, so
No.
he's from Canada.
It's
it's
slightly
closer
more
to
believable
Pittsburgh.
since
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
he could be French Canadian, and
Sure.
that's might as well be.
I'm just amazed how many movies will go to lengths to explain that he is either Canadian or from the Bayou. Like, how many times they will just throw in some detail to explain his accent.
like the Bayou explains his fucking accent.
Yes. But
People don't actually know what that sounds like, so.
again, this movie is just kind of like get on with it because wife comes out and there's obviously some tension there. It's never really shown at all that he's a bad dad or is irresponsible. I mean, in fact,
He's
his kids
a
are
bad
like
dad.
he always does what he says, kind
Yeah.
of thing. Like it sounds like he's a good dad. It's just wife is over him and it's like you can't do this. You can't just show up on your son's birthday with 2 tickets to the
Stanley Cup final.
the final game of the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah.
And he's like, but
I have
it's
these."
kind of important. And you look, the kid's decked in head to toe in penguin
Yeah.
stuff. And
They
he
seem
likes
into
hockey.
it.
You live across the river from the stadium.
Yeah.
Don't you want your children to go to this awesome thing?
But the not dad is just like, yeah, whatever. Go ahead. Kid.
Look, I mean, it's once in a lifetime
Yeah.
thing.
Go ahead. So they go to the game.
Yeah.
And we never see those two again.
Nope.
I mean, the ex-wife.
The other parents, no, they're gone. There is security ramping up for the hockey game because the vice president is coming.
Mm-hmm.
So there are just various checkpoints around the hockey arena.
Yeah.
It's just standard prep scenes.
Yeah, and we're kind of watching the terrorist plot start to unfold. Terrorists, I guess, whatever. They're extortionists.
They're robbers.
Yeah. I mean, they're willing to blow shit up. It's whatever. They're terrorists.
They are.
They're going to blow people up if they don't get what they want.
Yeah,
so,
they're terrorists. But they do some scam where they wreck the car of two security guards to steal their badges and kill them. Mm-hmm. So it's just your standard, like, we have supplies and we are moving the supplies and getting in place and blah blah blah.
And we see a brief scene where they're in their hideout where they're loading all their guns into popcorn bags and shit like that. And Powers Booth has a little tiny Pittsburgh Penguin stuffed animal thing and sets an egg timer for like four minutes, and everyone's like, "Oh, I guess that means we should go."
Yeah,
because
let's scoot.
They all like finish grabbing all their shit, run out the door, and then it's just the thing goes ding, and I mean it's just it must be like a tiny little amount of C4 because it kind of goes. I mean,
yeah. Well, I mean, it's implied later on that that's how they smuggled in all the explosives or in these hollowed out Pittsburgh Penguin stuffed animal things. So
sure.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a lot of prep, and Van Damme and the kids get there, and he is just able to go anywhere in the arena and do whatever.
He's the fire marshal, basically.
It's
fire inspector is what they say.
Never really said.
They say he's the fire inspector or something like that.
Yeah, because like he's walking around and, just like, hey, here's the chef. The chef is the most important guy, blah, 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 and he's guarding this elevator.
Yeah, like there's a lot of introduction to people at the stadium, and none of them really mean a thing. Like, I mean, the chef's the only guy that means anything to the plot, but, like, there's an extended sequence with, like, head security guard outside who's, like, nicest security guy ever because he's got the two kids like, hey, who's this? And who's and like the daughter's like, I've got stamps because she's got this little
rubber stamp.
Is it a penguin? I don't know.
You never ever actually see it.
It's not super clear. I think it was supposed to be a penguin.
Yeah, but she stamps the guard and she eventually.
And he's like, I'm never washing this hand.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But whatever.
He would be played by Stan Lee in the Marvel.
But like, he seems like he's going to be important. I don't know that we ever see him ever again.
Never again.
Then there's
He's just there to establish the stamp.
I know.
They meet the mascot lady.
She apparently is dating Van Damme. It's implied that they are maybe hanging out, watching Netflix,
possibly.
Yeah.
But that makes the resolution of her character seem even stranger when it happens.
I don't know. I think he just thinks she's cute.
Maybe, I don't know. But he's obviously friendly with her. But she's like the Penguins mascot,
Mr. Icy.
Yeah, and so in this executive kitchen, there's a head chef, and the Secret Service has given them instruction that there's one elevator that goes up to the VIP box, and the head chef is not to allow anybody he doesn't know up there. He's the last line of defense, which really seems like a bad Secret Service plot. But anyway, so that's established. Jean-Claude introduces them to the chef, and he's like, watch this, look what I can do. And he does this, throws a knife up in the air, and
it's a meat cleaver. Like he's chopping onions with a meat cleaver for some reason.
So he throws it up in the air, and it lands perfectly and cuts an onion or a head of lettuce right in half, and she's like, cool!
And he's like, that's why no one talks back to me in my kitchen or something like that.
And, like, Van Damme takes all the kids through the locker room, and...
Well, that's what he left the daughter with Mr. Icy lady.
Yes.
The lady who plays Mr. Icy.
Mr. Icy
because
lady.
He's going to take the son into the locker room because it's a bunch of naked dudes in the locker room.
And the kids are like, that's Brett Flabbernager. And he's, it's just whatever hockey names. And,
Luc Robitaille, this is his time to shine, his acting moment.
But it's just a lot of, like, okay, so they've specifically shown this weird thing with the butcher knife, and then they come into the locker room, and it's like, look, they heat up the hockey sticks to make them, to reshape them.
Right.
And they sharpen the ice skates with this sharpener thing. And you're like, wow, look at all the ways the terrorists are going to die. All these things are just going to be fucking killing terrorists.
So much setup.
Yeah.
A jock strap.
Yeah.
Yeah, because eventually the vice president, like, it's after he's taken his kids to their seat.
Yeah.
But the vice president shows up. I mean, basically, Van Damme is like, I'm going to take you kids to the seat. Now sit here. I got to go work.
And don't get up no matter what
happens.
happens.
Don't move. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much their story for most of the movie is sit in these chairs and don't do anything.
Yeah.
Until a little bit later. But then the vice president shows up and all the hoopla with that. Like, I mean, the motorcade that shows up for the fucking vice president.
It's a little silly.
There's like 70 cars in that. However, only like 8 guys go with the president or vice president.
But
Weird.
The vice president walks in and goes to the locker room as well. That's when we have this one dude who's like butt naked standing in his locker. And the coach is like, vice president's almost here. Put something on. At least put a jock strap on. He's like, okay, coach. And like grabs one and puts it on his head. So vice president comes in and goes like, I just wanted to tell you all good luck. We're all counting on you. This kind of speech. And then like, and they're like, hey, you going to go tell the same thing to the Blackhawks? And he's like, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'm just glad
I'm a politician.
Here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's like, whatever, dude. He's like, nice outfit. Yeah, Flabberknocker, nice outfit. The guy's like, yeah, you're right. I'm wearing the jockstrap on my head and nothing else.
Yeah, look at my dick.
We're dumb hockeyers, dude. Yeah.
So
they also like, okay, so when Van Damme was in there, he's like, you know, I played a little hockey, and they're like, oh, really? Did you? And he's like, yeah, in Canada.
Well, because that's because his shithead kid is like the biggest guy, like the goalie.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you're not in a rocking chair at all. And he's like, excuse me? And he's like,
it's one of the enforcers or something, not the goalie. Some guy with like a knocked out tooth and a big blockhead.
I think it was the goalie. I think it's the guy from later.
Because he had 104 fever.
Yeah.
I think it was that guy.
Did that guy say that he had a fever?
I don't know, but yeah.
Anyway, the kid's like, oh, you're not in a rocking chair at all. And he's like, excuse me?
Yeah.
It's like, my dad says you should be in a rocking chair instead of playing because you're so old. And he's like,
haha, I did not say that about my... No.
No, that was a
Played
joke.
a little hockey, but no.
like this
That was
kid...
a little Belgian joke.
This
Belgian
kid,
Canadian.
I mean... I know it's his birthday and all, but he's a shithead.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's
well,
absolutely.
it's the 90s and he's a kid, so of course he's the worst.
Yeah. But it's his birthday, and he's at the fucking Stanley Cup Finals, and he's just a shit the entire time.
He really is.
Because, like, he's already... like, Van Damme has asked the chef at one point, like, hey, this light bulb's burned out. Can, you know, where are the rest of them? And the kids realize, you know, like, oh, no, he's a custodian. What's that about? And the girl won't accept it, and the son is just like, yeah, he's not a fucking fireman anymore. He's a piece of shit. He's a lousy guy.
I don't know why like Van Damme couldn't explain his job to his kids. Like,
yeah, it's like, I am in charge of the safety of this entire building and the 80,000 people who are in it.
I make sure that the building is safe for all of these people and everyone. Like,
yeah, it's not there. I mean, I understand like firefighting is this big, grand, noble profession, but it's not suddenly a ridiculous step down to be a fire marshal. It's just not.
No.
So, but yeah, so all this has been established. Blah blah blah. Shit. Sorry. So also, we've seen an old lady be taken at gunpoint at her house.
yes.
It is Audra Lindley from Three's Company, by the way.
They did come and knock on her door. Well, not really.
No. But anyway, so
They came and knocked on her garden.
there's a guy there who's being a dick, like, feed me cookies and everything will be fine, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, call your husband at work. Her husband, it turns out to be the head chef. And they're just like, read this card. And
Read this note card to your husband.
And she's just like, honey, they got... And he's like, all right, we got your wife. Listen, she's going to read the directions. And the directions are basically like, four people are going to show up.
Yeah, 2 security guards, 2 fake chefs.
Yeah, pretend you know them. They're going to take the food up to the vice president.
You go with them.
And he's just like, well, okay.
And they're going to poison the vice president.
He goes like, you better not hurt my wife or I'll. And he goes, what, are you going to burn my toast?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then he's like, click. Yeah. It's like, good joke, guy. Mm-hmm. They never get that guy.
Oh, no, they get that guy. That's the guy that ends up on the roof.
Is it?
Yeah.
The final?
Uh-huh.
Okay, all right.
Spoiler alert, he ends up on the roof.
Yeah, there's some roof shenanigans. But, yeah, so Powers Booth in a tux, and the final prep has been done on the food, which is a giant shrimp cocktail and a fruit platter.
Yeah, there's like 30 chefs in this giant kitchen.
This, this mustachioed head chef, like, fucking up some onions.
And yeah,
cocktail.
And plus, every piece of kitchen equipment is fired up and cooking
Yes.
whatever
Absolutely.
thing. Like,
And
like
the guy
there's
has
meat
been-
on the meat slicer.
Yeah.
There are fries in the fry later.
But like the head chef has been given instructions, like when you are finished prepping the vice president's meal, everyone clears the fuck out. Mm-hmm. And
But-
that's it. And he goes, "That's it, we're done."
But hold a second. Like, all these people for two items that could be stored in a refrigerator.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, it's cold food.
I know.
Okay.
It's dumb.
I just want to keep hammering on that because, like, as soon as like literally two carts
Yeah.
are loaded up and they're like, everybody get the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm gonna unCinemaSins this.
Okay.
If you will.
All right.
I would like to think that they didn't expect that the vice president was coming.
And so they were already prepping all this
they
stuff? Mm-hmm.
expected it to be just like a normal night. They would do all the 12-course VIP booth meal, Powers
And their
VIP
plan-
Powers booth, very important Powers booth. And so like, so the kitchen was taken by surprise. So they would normally they were treating it like a normal night until the vice president ruined it all, and they had to go home early.
All right.
That's my unCinemaSinsing of
Okay.
this movie.
Fine.
Okay.
They go up in the elevator, shoot a bunch of dudes, and are like, "We are here."
Yeah, basically, it's like, I think he had 4 Secret Service people in
Yeah.
there within the room with him.
And there were like 2 in the hallway.
Yeah, like because there's a guy
Like
guarding.
50 less than you need.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, they get in there and he shoots a couple dudes and like shoots the chef. Mm-hmm. And
Well,
he's-
because the guy at the house was like, "All right, we're done with you,"
Yeah.
and shot the lady.
yeah, and then Powers Booth is like, "Oh, his wife died recently. He would have been lonely." So there's like the mayor of Pittsburgh is in there and his wife and a couple other people, like the owner of the team.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just now it's time for Powers Booth to, I don't know, be Tommy Lee Jones, I guess, and just. We are here now, and this is my plan.
Yeah.
You will get on the phone, and you will tell the president to release all this money to us because
basically
we
he's
want
like,
it.
Here's a list of accounts.
Yeah.
If there's a 1/3 of the money moved that I'm demanding by the end of the first period, I'm going to shoot one person.
Yeah.
At the end of the second, I'm going to shoot 2 people. At the end of the third, if it's not moved, I'm blowing the whole damn place up.
Yes.
That's basically his plan.
Which, I will say, in reality is a dumb plan, but for a movie, it's great because that gives you several ticking clocks throughout the film.
Yes.
Right. However, in a realistic logistics standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't bust into this room until there was 9 minutes left in the first period.
Oh yeah.
And he was like, I want
Yes.
$250 million moved in 9 minutes. Now, granted, the other thing, if I'm being pedantic a little bit, this movie is just hockey is a steady stream of a clock. There are no commercial breaks. There's no timeouts.
Oh yeah, it
there's
just
no,
goes.
Yeah, they just don't show it. Also, in the 90s, there weren't as many commercial breaks on every fucking sporting event. Because now it's 30 seconds of sport, 90 seconds of commercial,
Right.
30 seconds of sport, 90 seconds
Yeah,
of
I'm just
commercial.
treating this
there aren't as many
yeah,
stoppages.
they're treating this like it's a straight up hour.
Mm-hmm.
The hockey game is done in an hour, maybe 5 minutes between periods, or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's
But it's also on 1995 ESPN, which was not the juggernaut it is now. I mean, it was big, but it
Yeah.
wasn't. I mean, primetime hockey on ESPN. Who gives a shit?
Well, Stanley Cup Finals.
I know.
Big deal.
Okay.
yeah. Why that
But
would be
yeah.
on ESPN at all? That would be on a network, but
Not
whatever.
then.
It,
No,
it might have been on ESPN back then. Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows?
I
This
don't-
was actually a strike year, so they just made it up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, they strike the set by the end. That's for sure.
Yes. So they've there's no ruse to any of this. It's not like Powers Booth comes in with an agenda and then it's revealed to be something else. He's just like, we're robbing
No,
the
it's
U.S.
pretty straight
government.
up. Yeah.
And he keeps saying some things that make both the vice president and one of the Secret Service guys in the room think like, oh, you're one of us. You're in the service. And then he says some things later that they're like, oh, you work in the counterfeit division.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the guys we saw was Hallmark, the Secret Service guy, who he was the guy drilling them in the kitchen. This is the order of what has to happen. As soon as the food's delivered, get the fuck out. Do you understand these? And again, this movie is just skip that. It's understood. At some point, a call was made. We never even see that call.
Oh yeah, the Secret Service just knows.
All of a sudden they're in the tack van outside and making calls we got to keep the media on lockdown and da 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 da.
I mean, from that I just assumed that the Secret Service has to check in every so often, and they
Right.
missed their check-in, so they just immediately went into the vice president's been taken. But we find out later exactly why that guy knows what's up.
But they're already in the van, like calling everybody, like, "Yes, Mr. President, don't call the FBI. We got this. Trust us. We got this." Blah blah blah.
That explains that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just saying it jumps right to like people showing up and they're like trying to form a perimeter, and also it's weird because like this entire movie is like all of this stuff is happening, but nobody can let the crowd know because they don't want to cause the panic. They want the people to just be sitting there watching the hockey game.
Right.
They want to keep the crowd in the arena so that they can blow them up later.
Yeah, because they're not locking the doors or doing anything obvious like that. It's just like people are here. We got to keep this quiet. We're using silencers on everything. Blah blah blah.
There's been a scene where Van Damme went back to check on the kids and noticed that his son brought in a squirt gun or whatever, and then he leaves and the kids are like ordering drinks from the drink guy and kind of just get into this fight because the son is being a dick, where he's like, "Dad's not a fireman, he's a coward," or whatever, and she takes offense to that, but the kid like squirts her in the face with a squirt gun and she spills her Coke all over her, and she's like, "I gotta go clean this up." So she gets up and wanders off.
To which the whole time he's just like, "Dad said you can't get up."
Yeah. It's like, well,
I don't respect Dad, but you should respect what he says.
You should. So she gets up and goes to the ladies' bathroom, and coming out of one of the stalls is the penguin mascot.
Mr. Icy.
Yes. And she's like, "Oh, hey, Mr. Icy," and not acknowledging her at all. And then just because this hench woman is garbage at her job, the dead body falls out of the stall right in front of the kid.
Which is weird because it's not the lady. It's not the Mr. Icy lady, the normal one.
Is someone else?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess
Are you
it
sure?
is.
I thought it was.
No, because she was like hanging up in a door that Van Damme finds later.
Yeah,
she didn't get moved.
I thought she did get moved. I could swear that she got moved because nobody panicked and freaked out. I think
I thought she
think
just
she
shoved
got
her back
moved.
in a stall.
I don't think that lady was even
Well,
blonde.
okay, but see, here's the thing about this movie, though, is that there are terrorist elves that run around and clean up situations, so that it's one of those movies where Van Damme runs out and tells someone there's a thing that's up, and then he runs back in, and the terrorist elves have come in and cleaned up the situation. So I think she shoved that person back into the stall, and then later the terrorist elves came in and hit her.
I'm pretty sure that was not the same. I mean, I don't think she was even blonde. The lady that was dead in the stall. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
But anyway,
a dead body falls out. The girl screams, and then she's like, "I'm going to kill you."
Yeah. But it's the end of the first period, and people have started filing into the bathroom.
Yeah. And Powers Booth, meanwhile, has shot the mayor's wife because she was annoying.
Yes.
She was the one. Like, I mean, he's literally like, 3, 2, 1. You know, like doesn't even wait. Like, because they haven't moved a dime at this point.
and honestly, good for him.
Yeah.
Like if you're, I mean, if you're being the bad guy villain, you need to stick to your guns, literally, and you need to play by the rules that you've set up until they're inconvenient for you. But like it shows people that you mean fucking business, man.
Sure. Yes.
But yes, he was like, we can all agree she's annoying, right? Because I mean, this lady was just like, from the second they busted in. So he was like, please make her shut up. And so eventually he was like, yeah, obviously her, right? Everybody, am I right?
Yeah. But so the mascot henchwoman is started dragging Van Damme's kid around through the arena, and Van Damme has gone back to the seats and is like, where is,
well, because it's weird. It looks like the kid's going to escape because like crowd starts coming in to the bathroom, so she can't take care of her there.
She does get away.
And so like she fans out through the people coming in, and somehow the mascot's just like right behind her, like, where are you going?
Well, what they do is she gets away from the mascot, and then they cut to the Van Damme scene with going to the seats, and it's just like, where is she? And then he goes back out, and then he looks over and sees the mascot is dragging her out. So he starts following them. They go to the Secret Service elevator to go up.
I don't know. He didn't see her. Like, he just had a weird, like, I'm going to the kitchen thing.
No, he did. He totally he ran after them to the kitchen. He was totally following them.
That must have been like the briefest of shocks. Because I was like, why is he just going to the kitchen?
Yeah,
like he knows that's where they're going to be.
No, he totally saw them go that way. So they get into the kitchen, and he doesn't get there in time. They make it in the elevator, and they go up. The mascot lady shoots like 3 dudes.
And then goes to shoot the girl, and is like in the elevator, because like, doesn't she just throw one of the Secret Service people in the elevator and is like, you're taking us up there?
Yeah. Well, she
she
got his key.
She was still kind of like trying to do the ruse of like, I'm the...
I'm filling in
tried
for...
when she walked up, but then he was like, I don't think so.
Do we have clearance for a Mr. Icy?
She says, it's Mrs. Icy.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah, and shoots the guy, and then like goes to shoot the kid actually, and it's just like
no
click,
more bullets,
and says the weirdest line like, "You owe me a fucking Mother's Day card" or something like that. It's like
you owe me a Mother's Day card.
Like no, that's not how that works. But there's a lot of strange parenting jokes made in this movie that don't work that way. But yeah, so she gets upstairs and it's like, and Powers Booth is like, "Whoa, what's this?
Are we hosting a daycare here?"
Yeah. And he's like, "Why didn't you take care of this?" And she's like, "I only had 3 bullets in this gun because we're fucking idiots." And so he's like, "Time to menace this child," and he menaces her a lot.
Which
like,
everyone is like, "You kill me before you kill the kid," kind of thing.
Yeah,
of course. And so
the president is like, I'm gonna sit here and
he's like, "Stop politicking." But Powers Booth says, like, when she gets snotty with him about naming her dad, like giving her dad's name, because she's immediately like, "My dad's a firefighter and he's gonna kill you. He's gonna get here and he's gonna take me home because he promises." And Powers Booth is like, "I'm gonna fill your mouth with spiders."
Do you want? I think he says, "Do you want me to fill your mouth with spiders?"
Yeah. Which,
like the only answer to that question is no.
No, I do not, sir. Thank you. So yeah, no, she's a hostage now. Eventually, Van Damme gets back to the elevator. The mascot has come back down because they've said, "Go get Van Damme. We can't have this fire marshal running around fucking up our business." And he's like, "Hey, it's me." And
she's like, "Yeah, it's not me.
I'm filling in for her."
Yeah, she had to go home. She wasn't feeling well.
And this begins the goofiest thing in the movie.
Well, he sees the
goofiest or best.
He sees the penguin's hat on the floor of the elevator, and he's like, "All right, something's up." And then
because it's got his kid's name in it.
Well, yeah. Which and then like he catches a silhouette because Mr. Icy is like pulling out the silenced weapon.
Yep.
And he sees the shadow, and it begins Van Damme versus Pittsburgh Penguin fight.
Yeah. So
full mascot.
It's like Peter versus the chicken.
It
kind of is. It's
because she never takes the head off or anything that would make it like easier to fight.
It's a lady in a mascot costume, and she beats Van Damme's ass throughout this scene.
And he beats her ass a little bit.
A tiny bit, but he keeps doing things like punching her stuffed head, which he then, after like 4 times doing it, realizes, "Oh, I'm punching a stuffed head. I'm an idiot."
And then she punches the shit out of him.
Yes. But this is so the entire kitchen has been emptied because the rule was the chef makes their food and then all these people are dismissed. So, as they are flinging each other around through this kitchen, everywhere food is being prepped somehow. There's no one attending the food.
Yep.
But there is like prime rib on the meat slicer.
There's a whole other shrimp cocktail.
Yes. There are just trays of food everywhere. There are fries in the fryer. In the fryer.
Just still frying 20 minutes later.
Yeah, because what begins like he actually starts winning is there is a point where they're wrestling and he picks her up, like lifts her up off of him, and there is like an exhaust fan, like an industrial exhaust fan, and sticks her mascot head in it, which starts like like buzzing through one of the eyes.
Yeah.
So like she comes down and is like, oh wait, that doesn't hurt at all.
It's just half the part of the head costume is gone. It literally did nothing to
including
her.
There was a point where she is like pinned him down, and he looks behind him and there's like the kitchen size thing of red pepper, and he like grabs it and is like throwing it in the mascot mouth.
He doesn't even throw it. He just crams the whole thing in there and shakes it around and then pushes her away. It's bizarre.
It's really dumb, but it's really fun.
She's got him pinned against the fry later at one point.
Yeah.
And
somehow he's managed to rip like the mascot gloves off.
Yeah, one glove off.
Yeah.
And he just like manages to slip her grip a little bit and pull her towards him, and her hand goes in the fry later, and it comes out like this crispy red hand with the
tempura
hand. Tempura hand. Geisha. But she's got tempura hands, and but she's still got her red fingernails.
Yeah,
which is weird.
Yep.
But what eventually gets her, like, because they're fighting, like, there's, he is being threatened by the meat slicer at one point in time. Again, she is just pretty much like putting him in peril all over the kitchen.
Yeah,
and him having to go, "No, don't kill me this way." And eventually, they're fighting by the dishwasher sanitizer thing, and it's the conveyor belt style one. And he kind of manages to push her against the conveyor belt, and part of the penguin mascot costume gets hooked on the rail. And so she's being slowly pulled into the sanitizer / being choked by it. And so it's just like, and comes out the other end and she's dead.
Yes. But it's a great shot of the entire device in a widescreen shot. And you see like the feet go in, and then you wait a couple seconds, and then just on the other side, the head starts coming out. And then he just goes over to her and looks, and, obviously this person is dead. So he immediately runs out into the crowd and finds a security guard, which that makes sense, except that the security guard is one of the terrorists, obviously. So he's like, come on, my daughter has been taken by terrorists. Come with me. So they run to the kitchen, and the terrorist is like, so where's Emily? And he's like, I always do that, don't I? I said your daughter's name, didn't I? And
oh, no, it was the fill-in lady, the
Carol, or
it was
whatever.
the name that he gave.
Whatever.
But it wasn't even the right name, because she gave...
I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, doesn't matter. But he says something like, whoops, I'm a terrorist. And then Van Damme...
I'm a terrible terrorist.
Yeah, and Van Damme immediately is like, okay, time to spin around and kick you in the face. And then they start fighting in the kitchen, which we were like, is everyone going to fight in the kitchen? Just everyone is drawn to the kitchen and they go in there? But this fight doesn't last very long because Van Damme sees a, like, giant...
A block of dry ice, I think.
Oh, yeah, okay, so he does, like, slam his head, the side of the dude's head onto this dry ice to eventually get the information as to what's happening. And then he just grabs, like, a drumstick and breaks it in half.
Oh, yeah, I think
it's like a rib bone, but yeah.
The guy, like, gets the drop on him again, and he grabs... It looks like a turkey leg.
Yeah.
Bone.
But he snaps it.
He snaps it and jabs it in the dude's fucking neck.
Yeah.
Yes. Just...
It was a marrow escape.
Yeah. He wanted his bone in. So yeah, now he's killed 2 guys in the kitchen. But when he did come back in, like the terrorist devils had come in and taken the body away. Like have no idea where the mascot lady has gone, but she's gone.
No.
Yeah, no, like as you said, I mean, I honestly was expecting her to be the diehard,
the Alexander Goodenough character. Yeah. Well, she's the only real like henchman who has any kind of personality.
Well, everyone else she was actually like holding her own against Van Damme, almost winning. If it hadn't been like, whoops, I got my stupid mascot costume tangled on the sanitizer.
Yeah. And since this movie is Die Hard, Goodenough went out the same way. He got choked to death, but then showed up at the end perfectly fine. So might as well just do that. Yeah. So so he murders this guy with a turkey bone. And at this point, it's just a lot of running around, and he goes to the executive office.
He's trying to find a phone.
Yeah.
So he goes to the executive office.
He goes to like a whole bank of payphones and goes down the entire line like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Nope.
And like, okay, so meanwhile, outside, the Secret Service has been continuing to do all the things that they were told not to do, which is no helicopters. Yeah. So immediately,
let's slowly creep up towards the building.
Yeah.
Which when they get to a certain line in the parking lot, they had cars out there rigged to blow.
Right.
So they just start blowing up in the rows.
Yeah.
Until
like, okay, well, let's not
until
go that
eventually
way.
one guy is like liar pants on fire and flung over a car, and they're like, oh, we should probably maybe not do that.
Yeah. Well, let's do the helicopter.
Yeah, do the helicopter thing that they also told us not to do.
So they fly helicopters over this dome, and dudes start rappelling down from the helicopters, and then you cut to an adjacent building. And it's the guy who killed the old lady who just whips out a rocket launcher and is just like, well, we told you not to do this.
He's sitting there like chilling, like
sipping
a cup of coffee, and then it's like, oh, well. Yeah.
Yeah. And
twas the night before Christmas.
Hits one of the helicopters and, flings that dude down into the parking lot, and the other helicopter's like, whoop, 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 whoop. So, and then, like, okay, so they're just like, we're going to disguise some agents and have them go into the building. No one will know. And, of course, Powers Booth is like, oh, well, look, there's that guy, and here's this guy in that jacket. They're all Secret Service. I know what this is.
It's Hacker Man sitting at the monitor console.
Yeah. And they sneak in, and you don't see what happens to them, but eventually you see...
Well, this is the one fucking hockey pun we get in this entire movie, is Powers Booth is like, oh, they're so interested in hockey, why don't we put them on ice?
Yeah. Yeah, and so you just see the Secret Service out in the parking lot, and this Zamboni just starts driving towards them and crashes to a stop in front of them.
Well, no, even better, like they go running in, and they're like, "Y'all gonna come out here and see this?"
Yeah.
like
you're not gonna believe
like
this.
They saw it, and it was going slow enough that they were like, "Y'all motherfuckers need to come out here and see this." Like,
y'all gotta see this shit.
There's a runaway Zamboni.
Yeah. So it crashes into their cars, comes to a stop. the driver is one of the dudes who's been
one of the security dudes.
Yeah, he's dead and tied to the controls, and then the thing just starts opening up to spit out all the ice like it does, and just dudes on ice just tumble out of this thing. So
bodies in snow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perhaps there was an informer.
Oh, that bad.
Yeah, sorry.
Bad Marvel.
I don't understand that
The
reference.
hit song by Snow.
Yeah.
Or was that the name of the album?
No, that was the name of the song.
Okay, all right. Anyway,
Yeah.
So Van Damme has gone to the executive office. He finds a phone that he can use. He finds the dead mascot lady in the closet. He calls out to the Secret Service.
Which, again, like I said, either the magical terrorist fairies moved her from the bathroom and hung her up in the executive closet.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
But he calls 911, who route him to the Secret Service guy.
Right. Well, I mean, they're like, apparently they're already in the know.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're like, all right, stay off the line, wait 90 seconds.
Yeah.
And immediately, like, it's Hallmark. I'm, here in the van. What do you know?
Yeah. And, he tells him all the things, and it's just like, he has my daughter, and they're like, well, he also has the vice president. He's like, I don't care.
Yeah. He's like, he's got bombs in this place. He's like, I'm going to go get the bombs. They're like, don't do that. And he's like, and you're like, but you're all alone. He's like, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
So he's totally alone.
Mm-hmm. So he's, running around.
I mean, there are like 25,000 people in that arena with him. Technically, he's not alone.
Yeah.
Maybe he had Jesus.
Michael Jackson told him he's not alone.
He draws a quick map, which we find out later is his version of where he would put the bombs if he was going to blow up the building.
He's a safety technician. He knows.
Yes, he does.
Right?
And he's right, because everywhere he goes, that's where they've put a bomb.
And this first one, like, I mean, it is, like, he's got a knife, and it's like, dun, 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 dun,
Yeah,
dun,
this
dun,
is
dun, dun, dun.
this is the
like,
wire cutters cut the wrong wire, everyone's dead thing. But it's also ticking down because this is when, for whatever reason, Powers Booth has decided he's just going to blow one up. You think?
Yeah, he's just
they're
like,
hinting at it. He's not really going to do it.
Well, it's ticking down towards the end of the second period. He's like, I've killed one person. They're not really listening. They haven't moved any money yet, or they're barely moving money.
Yeah.
They're like, I should just do it, right?
Yeah.
Right? I should just do it. So there's this prolonged, he's going to cut the wire. He's pulling the thing out of the C4, and there's two wires. Like, and I don't know why you have to cut both, but whatever. It's
yeah. You have to cut both, pull the thing
and turn it off,
and flip it off. Yeah. I know.
Fuck you, Bob.
Yeah.
Really, all you have to do, like, it's C4. You got a detonator blasting cap in there. You just got to pull that thing out. You don't have to fuck with any wires.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll still make a little pop.
Hey, you just alt F4 your C4, and then you're good.
Yeah. Yes. That's exactly what you do. But so what this counts down to is that somehow the roof is partially open and fireworks start going off. And this is kind of startles Van Damme.
It's like all simultaneous because like Powers Booth has this detonator thing in his hand.
Oh, yeah.
Pushes the button. Van Damme finally clips or flips the switch on the detonator.
Yeah.
And then like you hear boom, and like Van Damme's like, "What?
Yeah.
Who's that?" And yes, for whatever reason, between periods, they've opened the roof or setting off fireworks. It's that second period stretch fireworks show.
It's just the celebratory. Hey, the first quarter went okay.
And then they come back to Powers
Nobody
Booth,
died.
sitting there with his detonator hand, and it's a fucking gimmick lighter. He's been sitting there smoking in this room the whole time, and someone created him a detonator lighter.
Yeah, it's a bomb detonator. That's just a lighter. It's a gag that doesn't even make sense in reality. It's like that. Who in the room is going to go? Oh, shoo! I mean, it's just like.
Yeah, we're safe now. Whew.
Yeah,
this guy's a jokester.
Yeah, so I don't know, but so this is just a lot of Van Damme running around doing these things. Eventually,
he shoots. He shoots somebody else. Who's he shoot? Oh, he shoots the mayor because he shot the mayor's wife earlier.
Yes, he does.
And did he? He didn't shoot anybody else, did he? Like, because he promised 2 at the end of the second period, but I think he only shot the mayor.
He only shot the mayor.
Yeah. He did not shoot the deputy.
No.
Yeah.
So Hallmark has at this point been like, okay, fuck it. We've done everything they said not to do. I'm just going in. I'll just go in and take care of this.
Yeah. They're not. What are they going to do? They're not going to stop one guy, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to blow up this place for one guy coming in. It's
Yeah.
like, don't do anything until you hear from me.
Van Damme has gone down to the basement and starts MacGyvering this this ridiculous device that he doesn't utilize properly throughout the movie, but he's got a little fire extinguisher and he just clips some tubing on it.
Okay.
And
a pipe.
Yeah, and he puts it on and runs the tube up his arm through his sleeve and makes a little projectile and puts that in there, and so like he's going to.
He's got a little like he's ninja blowgun.
He's just made this thing. He's been down there like Travis Dickling around and like makes this thing and like
makes one round for the fucking
it makes one dart thing and then like turns a corner and somebody's like.
Well, he goes immediately to the next bomb and deactivates it and turns around and there's the dude and he's like, do you know how deadly this explosive is? And the guy's like, it doesn't mean anything. It's not connected to anything, idiot. I'm the one who put it there.
Yeah, it's
a
detonator.
And, you know, Van Damme's like, oh, well, you know, and darts him to death. And you're like, fuck yeah, keep doing that. He never uses this thing again because he only made one bullet for it. But what's funny is that he murders that guy and then he's like, whew, turns around and there's another dude there and he immediately says, do you know how deadly this detonator is?
They're going to say, yeah, I do it. I know that. I'm not buying it. And then that guy just gets off screen punch and there's Hallmark there.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, do you know how to... he's like, no, man, I'm not following this. Also, I'm Hallmark. I'm from the Secret Service and produces some ID.
I'm from the cards.
Yeah. And then, yes. And
I'm
then
from the Gold Crown Club here.
They make a Hallmark joke earlier, which is horribly out of date now, and no one even knows what that means. But
no, people still buy those stupid cards.
There's barely any Hallmark stores anymore, though. I mean, and that slogan hasn't been used forever.
Okay.
But yeah, so they have like half a second of, oh, are you? Well, Van Damme punches him. Like immediately, he's like, oh, thanks for saving me. Punch. It's like that's for doing a half-assed job protecting the vice president. And then he's like, yeah, you got me. I deserve that. Okay, let's go. And immediately, two other dudes show up and start shooting at them. And so they have to run off.
They split up.
They do, yes. They split up. Because then Powers Booth gets a phone call. And he's like, okay, I'm not going to have this conversation in here. I'll be outside. So he goes outside, and he meets up with Hallmark. And Hallmark is just like, yeah, that guy's here. He's you know, I would have taken care of him. Yeah, I would have taken care of him, but... you know, your two idiots jumped me, and that didn't help. But Van Damme has told him where his kid is. He's like, my kid is sitting in the seat, you know, D10 or whatever. You know, if I don't make it out alive, go get my kid. So he's like, I know where his kid is. Go get his kid. Van Damme also told the kid, after he found out what the kid did to his daughter, don't you get up from the seat, even if the building is falling down around you.
Bad advice.
Which the kid... takes to heart and never moves throughout the rest of the movie. But so Hallmark then goes over to the kid and it's just like, you know, your dad wanted me to come get you. Come with me. And the kid's like, nah, that's not what he said. I'm going to stay here. And then he's like, nah, you got to come with us. You're going to go up in the booth and have, you know, lots of food and it's going to be great.
There's candy.
Basically.
And liquor.
And he's
and
like,
cigarettes.
He's like, do you know my mom? And
yeah.
And Hallmark is like, yeah, I'm coming over for dinner tomorrow. And the kid's like, they're divorced. That's not happening. And he's like, look, kid, I'm Secret Service. Come with me. And the kid's like, nope, I'm going to scream if you touch me. And eventually Hallmark's like, grr, and then has to leave. So.
Good job, kid.
Sure.
I guess.
I suppose.
I mean, technically, he just was continuing being a dick to adults, but
yeah.
I mean, it worked in this case.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, kid's just like glued to the seat.
Yeah,
now.
he doesn't move.
And the thing, like, here's the other thing. Like, it's this kid's birthday. He's been given like a once in a lifetime opportunity to see a final game of a hockey team he apparently cares about.
He seems to like him. They're the home team.
That dude is just. I mean, that kid is just sitting there like couldn't give two shits the entire game.
No, like every time they cut to, like, there's a lot of hockey in this movie. Like, it's half Die Hard, half sports movie.
Well, because like it's constantly like tied, not tied.
Yeah,
one. You know.
But they are going out of their way to show the hockey game and like let you know how it's progressing. And every time there's like a goal or a save or something, they will cut to the kid, and the kid is just looking around like he's totally.
Yeah,
he never once fist pumps or does anything where it's just like, yeah, hockey. You know, not once. So.
Yeah, he just sits there. Isn't the plan like Van Damme and Hallmark are gonna like split up and go? He's like, here's where I'm pretty sure the bombs are. Like, let's go get as many as we can.
They did,
and he's like, cool. I'll go. I'll go get these. You go this way.
Yeah.
And so Van Damme goes around basically trying to disarm bombs, and then I mean it's like 30 seconds later after like bye. We'll meet back up here in a few. It's like. Powers Booth gets a call.
Well, he's further down. Van Damme is further down in the place and kills a guy, takes his phone and hits redial.
Right.
And it's Powers Booth's number, which this cell phone technology in 1995 is not getting a signal.
Wait, doesn't he kill Hallmark?
No.
Isn't that where he gets the phone?
No. He kills just a guy.
Yeah, just random dude.
Because you were like, now I have a small handgun.
That's right. Yeah, right.
Now this is
the
part.
I thought he got the handgun from.
It was just
he got that from you got the handgun from Hallmark, but he got the phone from this other dude.
Okay.
Yeah. And this was just the scene of like when he calls and pretends to be not him, and he talks to his daughter and is like, whatever you do, don't let him know it's me.
He calls. He's like, I am Special Secret Service Tom Castillo.
Yeah. And Powers Booth has sussed this out immediately.
He's like, really? Yeah. Tell me what the blah 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 is. And he's like, I don't have time. I don't have time.
I am from the swamps. I mean Canada.
The Canadian swamps.
I am from France.
Yeah. But yeah, Powers Booth is like, I'm not having any of this fire, man. Your kid is,
Well, he's just like, here, like, if you need proof of how many hostages I have, here, let you talk to someone. And, and his daughter gets on and he's like, honey, don't let him know it's me. I want you to look around. Tell me how people are in the room. And she like looks around and goes, 12. And Powers Booth's like, give me that damn thing. And he's like, look, fireman, I'm going to kill you and your daughter. And he's like, look, bro, I'm going to lay it out like this. You want your money. If this becomes a public scene, like, I will make a scene. I will go out there and, like, start shooting guns and make everyone run out of here, and you're not getting shit. You kill my daughter, I'm definitely going to kill you. And he's like, he basically just, like, he has this whole, like, convoluted, like, here's how it's going to go down. Like, you're not going to lose if you kill my daughter, basically.
Yep.
So
I'm going to disarm the bombs.
Yeah.
You're going to not detonate the bombs.
Yeah.
If you kill my daughter, I kill you.
And you don't get the money and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Yeah.
Etc.
And all of a sudden, I mean, it's just this, like, Liam Neeson speech. This is not like there's nothing like really threatening. It's sort of kind of convoluted. And then Powers Booth is like, well, I see you're quite a negotiator. It's like, is he? Like,
yeah.
Powers Booth is just like, okay, whatever, guy. You're not going to get them all. I think that's his thinking. Is like,
but
he's not going to find all these bombs.
He's still he's like, okay, Tom Castillo.
Well, he's also like, I could see when you turn these things off, so I'm just going to send my henchmen around. I know where they all are. You have to go looking for them. But
he's immediately
5 seconds after like they split apart, like he and Hallmark split apart. Powers Booth gets a phone call, and he's like, dude, they have the frequency of this phone now. We can't do this over the phone.
Well, we talked about that already.
Did we?
Yeah.
So he revealed himself?
They went out and met.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, that they split up. They went and did that. But then after Van Damme gets off the phone with Powers Booth, it's just immediately Hallmark has shown back up. He's like, hey, how many did you get?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I only got one. And
he's like, I got 4. And he's like, oh, well, yeah. What are you doing, slacker? And he's like, well, how many did you get? Only 1.
Yeah. And that's when it's like,
here, pull a gun on him. Yeah.
Right. But this is Van Damme has improvised a blowtorch thing because so when he was in the executive office, he took a Zippo lighter and a refueling can.
This executive liked to smoke. There was like
eight packs of Camels.
Yeah, there was like 8 packs of Camels, a lighter fluid, and like a Zippo.
Yeah. And when he went and accosted his kid for the last time, he confiscated his squirt gun, which we didn't really see. It just kind of transferred over to Van Damme somehow.
Oh, no. He was like, you squirted your sister. That's why she got him left, right? And just took his squirt gun from him.
But he has filled this with lighter fluid, as you would want him to do. And he pulls it out with a lighter, and Hallmark's like, what are you going to do? Squirt me to death? And he's like, no. And then just flamethrowers this guy with his squirt gun. And he goes up. I mean, like, it just...
Absolutely.
Boom. And Van Damme's like, okay, see ya. But then Hallmark shows up. It's Freddy Krueger Hallmark time. He just pops back up like, ah! And they fight a little bit more, but Van Damme...
I'm just thinking about Freddy Krueger Hallmark.
I know,
like,
really.
Knife to see you again.
Yes, exactly. But anyway, Hallmark, he's dead. No more Hallmark. So, Van Damme gets to a point where he is under the bleachers dismantling one, and Powers Booth calls him and is like, hey, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm dismantling your bombs. And he's like, okay, you're in Sector 7. We know exactly where you are because we can hear the... Or no, he
something went bang, and he, like, discovered what it was. Like, I don't know if it was the clunk of, like, the goal siren or something. I don't know what it was.
I thought he set something off, and he was like, oh, that's where they are.
I have no idea. I was trying to figure out.
Yeah, he didn't Powers Booth did not detonate any bombs until like shit was going.
No, but I thought it was something else. But Anyway. So
it's convoluted, but like he's under the bleachers and Powers Booth like sends his henchmen after him.
Or maybe he was watching. Maybe he was actually. That was the moment when he was actually watching the detonator thing,
maybe.
And saw the light go off. Yeah,
maybe. But he's just like he's in.
But
this
something
sector.
also
go.
Yeah,
made a noise.
Yeah, so Van Damme starts running around all around the arena, starts tumbling over the crowd, just lots of just escaping.
Because there are henchmen coming after him.
There are. And at one point, they have the hockey announcers have reminded us that the goalie has 104-degree temperature. And they cut to the goalie, and the goalie calls the referee over and is like, I can't. And so...
My heart won't go on.
Yeah, so they take him over to the coach, and the coach is like, what do you mean you can't? Just get out of here. Rawr. Angry mustache coach is the hero of the second half of this movie because he is acting the shit out of everything. So he goes back to the locker room, and Van Damme also goes into the locker room and puts on his uniform and then skates out onto the ice. And this becomes a weird what the fuck is happening segment where Van Damme just plays hockey in the Stanley Cup Finals for a couple of minutes.
Yep. As goalie, and every time that puck is coming anywhere closer, he's like, no.
Right. Yeah. So he gets a big save. And
the most remarkable save of his career because everybody thinks it's the other guy.
Right. And so his daughter has taught him the sign language for I love you. And after he does the save, he pulls his gloves off and does it pointing at his kid. Like, and the kid's like, what the fuck? And
why does that...
I don't know why it happened. It's so weird. It doesn't have anything to do with anything.
Yeah. This whole section is very what the fuck. Like, you just wasted 3 minutes of this ticking clock.
Hanging out on the ice playing hockey.
And then to resolve it, because they've painted themselves into a weird corner, he basically, like...
He skates out of the goal.
And like a dude is just kind of standing there like, oh, like, I can't believe I didn't score. And he just skates up and goes, clock. And they're like, and the coach is like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
That coach loses his mind.
And he's like, get the fuck out of here. That's $1,000 fine.
Yeah, $1,000 fine. Ooh. Yeah, but then the ref, skates him off the ice. So then he goes into the locker room. The two dudes are coming after him.
And all of us are like, finally, he's in a locker room full of skating equipment.
Yep.
He's going to murder some fools with skates. Like, somebody's going to get an ice skate in the throat.
Yes, or a stick to the face.
Well, there is some high sticking, but that's because, like...
I've seen some dudes get hit with sticks, and it is brutal. But that's not what happens in this scene
No,
because
like, he goes in there, and he's like, oh, henchmen are still after me. And hides behind the door. And, like, the equipment guy comes around the corner like, hey, who are you? And rather than go like, dude, get the fuck down. You're going to die. Like, guy pops in and just shoots the equipment guy like 9 times in the chest. And then he's like, high sticking, 3 minutes.
Yep.
But
yeah,
and just kills. I mean, I don't know, knocks that guy out. Doesn't even really kill him. I don't think. Just hits him in the face.
He breaks the stick over his neck.
Yeah,
sure. He's probably dead.
Probably dead.
And the other guy ends up
Batman 32 beats.
The other guy ends up with the hydraulic press thing.
So this is where they have the fight in the equipment room that doesn't pay off like it should.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there's everything that you could ever want in an equipment room to just like beat the guy to death, like wrap a jockstrap around his neck.
Yeah. And none of that happens.
None of that happens.
No. But
best we get is like a dude gets his hand put in the hydraulic press thing. That's about it. Like there's no ice skates.
No.
Like, okay. There's a point where you have put Van Damme in ice skates. He is wearing hockey skates. Van Damme likes to do splits in movies.
Yep.
Also, there's no split in this movie.
Nope.
He should have done a goddamn split save.
He should have done. Well, he should have done. No, even better is he should have done a split.
Better.
He should have done the split with ice skates on either side and taken out 2 guys to the throat.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
In a doorway or something.
Yeah.
Like the fact that doesn't exist. Like
it's
a split save would have been good.
Yeah.
But like him, like us just wanting someone to take a high skate to the neck the entire movie. Like, imagine doubling that while Van Damme is doing a split. Fucking golden jocks of all time, I think.
But what this means is that basically every setup they did in the first 15 minutes of this movie for violence doesn't happen.
Nope.
None of it happens.
Nope.
It's all pointless. And you're like, what? Why? Why would you even? Why? So we are ticking ever so close to the end of the game.
Yeah,
and it's 4-3 Blackhawks.
Well, there's a point where he's being dragged off the ice by because he's just punched a dude before he goes in the equipment room, and like looks at the clock like, oh no, it's like. Dude, if you hadn't just wasted 3 minutes living out your fucking hockey fantasy or whatever the shit you were doing there and signing to your kid, you complete me and all this bullshit, it's like, get the fuck off the ice and finish your shit.
Yeah. But yeah, so he just basically runs back out and is just pressed up against the glass watching the time tick down, and you're basically watching the Penguins guy go...
Luke Robitaille, hero of this movie.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But he's got to score to tie the game, and he scores at the last second. And as soon as he scores at the last second, the scoreboard immediately on all sides just starts flashing sudden death. And you're like, yep. And Powers Booth sees that and goes, sudden death. Huh, how about that? So, because his plan didn't account for but his plan did not account for overtime. So he doesn't.
Or maybe it did.
Yeah. Well, this is when the movie kind of kicks into overdrive.
Overtime? Overdrive?
You could say all of those things because like the last 20 minutes of this movie are fucking ridiculous in the best way.
Yeah, because Van Damme escapes and like somehow immediately finds his way to the roof. Like no obstacle whatsoever. It's just like
he finds another equipment room and MacGyvers a bunch of chemicals together into a jar and puts that in his handy pouch that he's been carrying the whole time. And then he just basically somehow gets up to the roof, and it's a long climbing sequence and all of that. They've got a guy guarding the roof, and his exclamation point goes off, and Van Damme has to basically hand crawl along this railing to get past him.
And he basically just kind of gets kicked down the dome.
He does, yeah, because that guy goes screaming, sliding down the dome. But as a good terrorist would do, there's a backup guard who immediately comes out like, well, let's see what's going on out here. And Van Damme has gotten over to a control panel and starts opening up the roof.
Oh, that's Coffee Guy.
Okay, yes. So he knows, he can obviously tell that someone's over there at the controls opening the roof, so he kind of peeks over, and Van Damme, yoinks him off, and they start fighting on the roof as the roof is opening up. And this is shot really well because there's obviously shit going down, happening on the ice as this roof of this auditorium is opening up. And there is one shot that starts on the ice during the, like, it's the start of sudden death. And then the camera pulls all the way back up to where they are fighting on the roof.
Either that was composited really well, or that's just a masterful shot. Because that's like,
I think they just had it on a bungee cord and like a steady cam on a bungee and just pulled it up slowly. And because that,
there was no way there was people actually up on
there
the roof.
are some shit composite shots in this.
Oh, I know.
So it may not.
Maybe the dudes weren't on the roof, but they certainly pulled the camera all the way up.
Pulling the camera all the way up.
Yeah.
That looked really good.
That's probably real. And then it just, into like guys fighting on a thing with a green screen right there or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. It looked really good. And like the latter part of the shot wasn't as good, but the sort of crane shot beginning middle was really good. I was sitting there going, I should say something about how good this is, but I just kept watching.
Yeah.
It was that compelling for me for some reason.
But
because it was.
Eventually Van Damme fights the guy off to where he starts falling and he grabs one of the light fixtures.
Yeah, it's a common, like, there's cables in this roof thing, so like they're hanging on the cables for a little bit, and the guy is like, oh no, he's about to fall. Oh, he grabbed one of the lights.
Yep.
So there's just like he saved himself again.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude is hanging from the light, and Van Damme basically, or no, I think the guy just finally falls.
He just falls. Yeah, and lands on the scoreboard.
Yeah, lands on the scoreboard, and
the scoreboard. Okay, so we didn't mention earlier there was a point where Van Damme busts into a control room and is just I'm taking over the outside marquee and starts typing messages to the Secret Service, to which rocket launcher guy's like, yeah, well, fuck that thing, and they fucking nuke the sign outside the hockey arena.
It really goes up.
Yeah, it's a great sparkly explosion of just like sparklers and Roman candle shit just flying everywhere. It's it's real dumb. Same thing happens when this dude hits the scoreboard.
Yep.
He hits the scoreboard.
Except for like times 10.
Yes. It's just fireworks show inside, and everyone's like, what the... like,
well,
the hockey players are like, woo!
The best is, like, we haven't even mentioned the hockey announcers.
Yes.
Like, there are announcers throughout this providing the color commentary on ESPN, and like they've got some really good expressions that they're saying. Like there's one where it's like "scratch my back with a hacksaw" or something like that. It's like
that was the Penguins' actual play-by-play announcer,
is it?
and those are some of his like catchphrases.
Those are actually dumb things that guy says.
But there is a point when like dude, like they're just like in the middle of calling a play, and that dude hits the scoreboard. The first sparks go up, and the guy just grabs his headset and goes, "Holy shit!"
Yeah,
like,
and he's gone. He is like, "I am out of here." As you should be, but everyone else is kind of like, the fuck is happening?
Yeah, it takes a couple more sparks before panic sets in.
Yeah, well, also they start to see Van Damme up there, sliding around on ropes and shit, and Van Damme has decided he's going to Tarzan across this arena.
Well, he's made a rappel thing so that he can get down to the scoreboard, even though it's like lit up like fucking 4th of July.
Well, he doesn't even get down that far because there's like a lighting contraption on a track that
I thought he was standing on the. I thought he was standing on the scoreboard.
No, he was still up in the cat. He wasn't down that far.
That's right. He hit a catwalk.
Yeah,
that's right.
Well, so he jumps off this catwalk to grab this thing, and it is basically just a slide all the way down towards the VIP booth, and doesn't quite make it, and then kind of grabs a cable that's dangling and is swinging back and forth, and then just kind of reaches into his bag and chucks whatever this thing is.
It's another big light. Like one of those big domed lights.
Yeah, that's what he's riding on, and he's swinging back and forth. But he chucks this homemade bomb that he's made, which just blows a hole in the roof of the VIP booth, and he just drops down into that and is just like blam 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 blam. Everyone's dead.
Now, meanwhile, like the entire arena is basically before he blows the roof up, because like the whole arena was freaking the fuck out when the dude hit the scoreboard.
Yeah.
So like they're running away, but now his kid is just like, I am glued to the seat. I am not leaving. This is when Powers Booth is like, let's see which one of these things is still hooked up, and it's like click, 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 click until eventually one apparently
there was one left
under like the ice controls or something, because it's like all of a sudden water,
floods,
water which I gotta say, like of all things that you can do in cinema, I fucking love when like there's rushing water in places where there shouldn't be water.
Yeah, coming down the ramps of the
I just mean in general. Like, I don't care if it's Mission Impossible, any fucking disaster movie ever. I love when there's rushing water.
Yeah, because you can't fake it.
Yeah,
and it's reckless as shit.
It is
because it's just a mass of water. Like you don't know what it's going to do.
And you always have people
in an
just
arena. You can do whatever you want.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and there's always just somebody
water
losing their shit. Just
yeah. Yes. So there is just mayhem of people running, trying to get out, falling all over each other, sliding down ramps because water is pushing them down. So there was one bomb left. It doesn't do much damage, but it does enough.
But yeah, so like, but kid is still like, I mean, scoreboard is going crazy. The entire crowd is leaving. He's heard an explosion. He's still just like, my dad told me to sit here.
Yeah.
My dad told me to sit here. Yeah. He's not saying that, but he's just sitting there.
He's just sitting there.
But yes, Van Damme throws that bomb, hits literally like a manhole size hole into this roof, and then just perfectly Spider-Man's his way into that little tiny hole.
Yep.
And it's like, all right, why not? And then, as you said, just basically is blam, blam, blam. Powers Booth at this point, like as soon as the explosion goes off, he's like, I'm fucking out of here. Like,
Yeah, and you see close-ups of him clearly putting on a disguise, which is basically a Ron Burgundy mustache.
Not before, like, the little girl, I don't know what point. Like, I think he was trying to grab the little girl, like he was going to take her hostage, and she just goes, no, and, like, stamps his hand with whatever that stupid stamp is she has.
Yes.
And then he's got the Rip Taylor do-it-yourself, like, home disguise kit, because he's got this weird blonde wig that looks obviously like a wig and a weird mustache thing. And, he's just like, I'm going to get out this way.
So so Van Damme's got his kid.
He's got his kid. He's hugging his kid. He's like, high five, vice president. I did it, and let's all get out of here.
And they go out into the throngs of people who are trying to escape, and it's a big crowd. And the girl kind of wanders away, and she's like, "That's the man. That's the man." And she just wanders away from Van Damme, and
who is again like just gone through hell. Like it'd be like at the end of Aliens if Ripley was just like, Newt.
Yeah.
Like, just like, oh, Newt wandered off again. Damn. That's unfortunate.
Yes. But yeah, Powers Booth just turns around in his ridiculous disguise and is just immediately like, it's me. He doesn't say that, but he basically just is like, obviously, I'm the bad guy, blah, and grabs her and runs off. And Van Damme's like, what? Where'd they go? And then immediately sees...
just run.
I know.
Well, there's only one guy not running outside, and he's the one running up the stairs. Yeah.
So he's like, I'm going to go get him.
He's like, here's Secret Service guy. I trust you're an actual Secret Service guy. Please take my son.
Yeah, because, he gathered them up. And so they go back to the roof. And there's a helicopter coming for Powers Booth, basically, and it's got the longest rope ladder you've ever seen. And so they get up to the catwalk that everyone was on originally, this little platform up top, and they kind of start fighting, and there's a trap door, and Powers Booth falls back and hits the button that activates the trap door, and the daughter, immediately just is flung out of it and is hanging onto the grate.
And she, like, to her credit, they start to fight. She just handles herself. Yeah.
She
She's
crawls
like,
back up.
Oh, well, I'm in a shitty situation. Let me get out of this shitty situation.
Yeah.
And just climbs back up. Like, good job, little lady.
And then Powers Booth is kind of like, I got the ladder. I'm taking off now. I got a gun. And I'm not going to kill you, Van Damme, but because you're going to have to live with the fact that I'm going to kill your daughter. And then when he goes to shoot her, the ladder jerks or something, and the gun hits the rail, and that's it.
But he's like,
he's like,
oh well, I'm still going to get out of here, I guess.
Assholes, and I'm out of here. And so he's flying off on the helicopter with the ladder. He's climbing up and gets in the helicopter. Van Damme eventually is like, "Are you okay, daughter? All right, I got this." And then just grabs the lowest rung of the rope ladder, and
I've got a question. Like, there was really almost no reason for him to risk going out on the rope ladder like he did.
No, but
because all he really does is like, I'm on the bottom rung. Let me shoot into the air.
Yeah, because he
slash through the bottom of the helicopter.
Yeah, he gets Powers Booth's gun and just shoots to the bottom of the helicopter out to where it kills.
He could have made that shot standing on
Absolutely.
the platform just as easily. Probably better because he wouldn't have been swinging around.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But so he kills the pilot and kills the other dude that's in the helicopter. Powers Booth is just like, what? So when the pilot gets hit, he pulls back on the stick because that's what you do when you die. And, the helicopter goes
completely vertical,
like straight up. But helicopters can't do that. They also can't do what's going to happen next either, but whatever. It's fucking...
Which is fall straight down.
So
perfectly perpendicular.
You've got them out of the way. Van Damme and daughter are safely out of the way, and you were just watching this helicopter vertically, slowly fall through this hole, and there's a slow-mo shot where Powers Booth and Van Damme lock eyes, and Van Damme just kind of snarls at him, and then you just watch this helicopter slowly just keep coming down through this hole, and some of the shots look really good because it's obviously a helicopter on wires, and other shots are obviously a miniature that look like garbage.
Yes.
But it's just this helicopter that comes down tail first and then hits the ice and just explodes. I mean, this is a prop that hits the ice and explodes in the middle of this arena.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
I would say half to 2/3 of it looked really good.
Yeah. Yeah,
looked
some
like
of
a really
it
good
looked like a silly
practical
miniature
effect.
that's moving at a weird frame rate, and you're like,
Right.
what? But yeah,
it was moving way too slow. They needed to make it look like pretend slow-mo or something.
They moved it so slow and had so many camera angles on it because they were afraid they were going to miss something. Because I think I read they had like 9 cameras on that last shot.
Shit.
Which is understandable because that's your money shot, but you can't really... we need another helicopter to drop on the ice.
They're probably not going to let you do that twice,
Probably not.
I will.
But then it's just, it's paramedic finale.
Yeah, there's nothing... It doesn't do the thing that we like, which is, slowly crane shot away from all the flashing lights.
They load Van Damme into an ambulance, and the daughter says, he's a fireman.
Yeah.
My dad's the coolest. Like, both kids now like their dad, I guess. Wouldn't they like their dad fine at the beginning?
Yeah.
It was only after he took him to the hockey game they were like, you're shitty, Dad.
Right, and now
why do
he's
you
cool
change light bulbs?
Yeah.
How many dads does it take to change a light bulb? Just one shitty one. Hours.
That's a good joke. But yeah, they just shut the doors of the ambulance. The kids don't get to go. The ambulance just pulls away, and that's it. There's no resolution with the vice president. There's no presidential commendation. Nothing. It's just Van Damme goes to the hospital. The end. Sudden death is over. Talked about it a while.
We did.
So it's got a lot of ins, a lot of outs. No Stargrove. There's the only music in this is the Gary Glitter song that plays after every hockey goal. And the theme for ESPN primetime hockey, whatever. So, no. Well, that's technically a Stargrove, but no. So we rate it. I'll go.
Okay.
This movie's fine. I remember seeing this in theaters when it came out. It came out like Christmas week, which is a dumb time for this movie to come out. But I remember seeing it in theaters.
Sudden Death is a Christmas movie.
Yep. And was just like, another Die Hard ripoff. I don't care, and just dismissed it. But looking back now, I like all the Die Hard ripoffs, and this one it's not great, but it's serviceable. Its flaws are that like none of the henchmen have any weight whatsoever. They're just fodder, and Powers Booth is having fun, but like you literally don't even know the man's name until the closing credits. Like no one even says his name. You don't get a resolution as to who he was. None of it. It's just, I'm a guy here to rob the government, and oops, I fucked up. Van Damme killed me. There's just not anything good with that. So I was sitting at 2 jocks the entire time, but then the last 20 minutes are fucking ridiculous, and I loved the hell out of everything that was happening. Like, when you first start to see this helicopter vertically enter the shot, and you're like, oh, that's going to go right through the hole in the roof and then land on the ice. I'm like, yeah, all right, that's pretty cool. So I'm going to give it 3 jocks. It's mostly just fine. Serviceable, but it's got a couple things in it where you're just like, all right, yeah. It does commit the crime of setting up so much violence and not paying off any of it. None of it. I don't even get why they did it, but they crashed a helicopter on the ice.
Yeah. I'm going to give it the exact same rating. That's exactly where I was sitting. It's a little bit disappointing. I mean, I had higher hopes for this movie than I think what it actually delivered. I don't want to be that nitpicky, but like when you show me a chef dude with the cool knife trick, I'm like, immediately I said like, when's that going to come up?
Yep.
And then the dude got shot, and I was like, the fuck? Like, why even show me that? Like,
yeah.
I don't want to be like, but that is an actual cinema sin. I mean, that is a real like, honest to God like thing you don't do in movies.
Yes, that is.
You don't like show something as a setup and then have it go nowhere. Like, I mean, that's actual Hitchcock filmmaking rules. Like,
because these things weren't like incidental camera shots.
No.
These were like,
No, they were very specific.
it's like the first unit director was specifically filming inserts of this so that you knew what was happening. So you're like, okay, that's going to come up later. I mean, the only thing they do pay off like that is the hand stamp thing.
Sure,
but everything else is like,
yeah, I mean, you get the setup of like, okay, well, he took the lighter fluid, and oh, now he took the squirt gun. Okay, well,
they pay some stuff off. They
There's
just
some
don't-
of it, but like,
They just
there's
like
a lot
2/3 of
setup,
the stuff that they specifically set up with like winky shots.
yeah.
And I mean,
Winky shots is
if it was like
my dick pic app.
if it was like if it was a better misdirection, that would be one thing. But like, it's not. It's just
To not even use any hockey equipment to kill people is fucking insane.
It really is.
Hockey weapons
Except for the
are
stick.
everywhere.
I mean, I was honestly like, okay, like you've held back on other than like the one stick that gets cracked against the dude's head.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, how is he going to kill this motherfucking helicopter with a puck or something?
Yeah,
I was like,
just hit the puck
that
and
would've
hit the
been so
pilot
good.
and knock the pilot out, and
like if he had formed the C4 into like puck shape and then just like flung it
Slap
at
shot it through the.
I was like, you've
that's got to go in
you
our
have
movie.
held back so much on all of the hockey related death.
Yeah.
This has got to be it,
yep,
but it's not. So
yeah.
Yeah, I almost want to penalize it a little bit more for that, like thinking of it, but I'll just go ahead and give it my initial instinct of 3 jocks. There's some really good stuff in this movie. Like it's better than some of the diehards that are actually diehards.
That is true.
So
That is accurate.
so that means it's pretty good. Yeah, I just like you guys said, I just wish that they had paid off a lot more of the stuff that they set up, and other than that, it's pretty good. Like there needed to be like a fight with him staying in the hockey pads, where he's like using the hockey pads to block kicks and stuff, and then finally he does like a double spin kick and splits and slices 2 dudes' necks open. On the ice, and then blood just goes all over the ice and makes a big red mess. Got to earn that R rating or something.
The big red mess.
Right.
a song of ice and fireman.
There you go. There you go. Episode title right there. So good. I'm distracted now.
Sorry.
I don't know what to do.
just
3
came to
jocks.
me.
It's pretty good. Ensign Award. anybody
that coach is awfully close, but
coach is working on it, but he's doing coach things.
Yeah,
so.
he's not freaking out about the situation, just the hockey situation, which,
Yeah,
for this like a Mighty Ducks movie, absolutely, but
yeah,
it's not. It's a blow shit up movie.
yeah. Three Jocks. I mean, you definitely watch it, and this should go in your hall of Die Hard ripoffs. If you ever have a Die Hard ripoff marathon or something.
Yeah, it is a serviceable one of those.
31 Die Hard ripoffs in 31 days.
I could do that.
Get on it. You should do it in October, I think.
Yeah, that'd be a great time.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, not enough puns, by the way. Also,
Yeah.
like
Putting
so
them on
few
ice
puns,
is the only one that pays off with any kind of anything.
That's really like the only pun.
Yeah.
Freeze.
Yeah, and that was wasted on some Zamboni jabronis. So.
Another episode title.
Zambonis. Jambronis. Yeah. Did you know Zamboni is like you can't call every ice finisher a Zamboni.
Hell, I can't.
Watch us.
I mean,
Don't fucking tell me how to live my life.
it's
man.
like Kleenex. It's a brand name. Zamboni is a brand name.
Give a
your
shit.
brand name.
Ice resurfacer.
How many actual Xerox machines do you see anymore?
Right.
It's usually other people that make them now.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I just wanted to slip that little, little bit of trivia in there
realize
for the
that.
folks.
All right, let's take a break, shall we?
All right, I guess.
All right.
Quack. Quack.
What are you typing over there?
Well, Mackie had such a hissy fit when I would send him the rating for the episode. I'll just do it myself.
I'll do it myself.
DJ 3, Mackie nothing. Harley 3.
Oh, that's a good one, Kyle. 2 minutes for eye sticking.
Just never not funny.
Hack out. Good times.
Die now. I'm just knock that ant to death.
Yeah.
I grew up in Jacksonville, mildly racist urban area. So whenever somebody starts something with N and then says knock afterwards,
Yeah.
my brain is expecting a different word.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
It's weird.
Okay, well.
Throws me off a little bit. I know Nillanaken is a thing that we do that is wholesome. But
I really don't have anything for the second half. Does anybody?
I have 2 movies.
All right.
we can briefly talk about Browns.
I have 2.
I mean, I guess I can talk while we're breaking.
Yeah.
That I am only because I realize I haven't watched them all myself. I am also taking the Harry Potter journey, but I think I'm just gonna when I finish it all, I'll just be like, that good, like very quick. Just I feel like we've already explored it, so.
Okay.
Right now, I'm basically just rewatching ones I've already seen, just to
get there.
watch them all in order. I just feel like it's one of those things that at some point I should see the whole damn thing.
That's how I felt. Be culturally aware. That's why I watched Hunger Games movie.
Oh, yeah, I gave up on that shit. I only made,
Right.
I only watched the first one. I read the first 2 1/3 books, and I literally started the third book, and I was like, I know where this is going. Fuck it. I never do that with books. I was like, I know where this is ending. Fuck it. Well, it was on a Kindle, so I didn't actually throw it. But I mean, it was like, I just delete. Fuck, I'm done. I know what's happening here. I've seen things.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Hey, man.
What's up?
What's up, brother?
Quack.
Quack.
But yeah, I was not really enjoying the cinematic adventures of the Hunger Games, so I stopped after one movie.
They're all right. Stanley Tucci is a
Hunger Games!
fantastic character.
Stanley Tucci is an international treasure.
I know.
All right, let's do this.
Quack.
Penguins. All right, welcome back.
Hey! BMFcast, second half. Half number 2.
Yeah.
Time for some more halving.
Sure.
Yes.
This won't last long.
No?
No. I got a couple movies, but they're quick.
Oh, okay.
I watched a couple newish to Blu-ray movies.
Newish to Blu-ray. Newish to bluish.
Blu-ray. So first I watched Why Him?
Okay.
Which
Why?
is the James Franco bothering Bryan Cranston movie.
Okay.
That's exactly what it is. It's just it's a Ben Stiller movie.
Ah, okay. So skip it.
Okay. It's one of those movies. It's where normal, boring people are suddenly being bothered by the weirdest human on the planet. It's just one of those movies. There's a whole genre of them, and most of them have Ben Stiller in it. And Ben Stiller was a producer of this film, so it kind of makes sense.
Okay.
But I will say that I don't know why I go into every movie thinking I don't like James Franco.
Okay.
I just every time I see him, I'm like, ugh, another James Franco movie. And then the movie's over, and I'm like, I like James Franco. I don't know what it. I think it's just his smirky face that I see all the time, like on posters and stuff, where you're just like, dude, I don't know. But every time I see him, I'm like in a movie, I'm like, okay, I'm fine with James Franco. It happens all the time. It happened in this. There are enough jokes in this that make it a fairly entertaining watch. This is something I would say watch on cable if you pay for cable already. There's no reason to really like rent it or anything like that. It's fine. It's also a Christmas movie, by the way, so maybe it'll come up on next year's BMFcast Extra. I don't know, but it just has extended scenes that are uncomfortable, and they just keep ramping up how uncomfortable it is, and that's not necessarily funny. But then they will do a shorter scene that is uncomfortable that's like really funny. So it just kind of depends on your tolerance for normal people being bothered by really weird people.
Okay.
And those people not punching the weird person. And
well, I mean, is Bryan
So it's
Cranston
like me on this podcast.
like normal? Like
he's super straight-laced, like Mid-East businessman.
yeah, I mean, like I mean, I was just like, all right, so you've got Ben Stiller movies where it's like he just keeps getting heaped upon, and sometimes he deserves it by just digging himself in by lying or whatever. But then you've got movies like Meet the Parents where it's like he's not helping his situation, but Robert De Niro's kind of a weird dick too.
This is more the latter.
Okay.
Where Bryan Cranston doesn't necessarily, he's not doing anything to make the situation worse.
Right.
It's just he's being heaped upon because he's the straight man.
Okay.
So that's what it is. I mean, it's when it starts, you're immediately like, okay, I see where this is going.
Wow. So
And
it's just a tossed out draft for a Meet the Parents sequel, most likely.
it
Yeah.
feels like it. Yeah. Megan Mullally is in this as his wife, as Bryan Cranston's wife, and for some reason she's like the funniest thing in the movie, and she's a person that I've never really given two shits about one way or the other. Like, I never watched Will and Grace, so I don't. But I mean, I've seen her in movies, and it's just been like, yeah, okay, I guess that's a person people like. But in this, she genuinely made me laugh. So, good on her.
Nick Offerman likes her a lot.
Yeah,
a whole lot.
Yes.
And I like him. So
That
intrinsically, I like.
yes,
Megan
I guess
Mullally.
that through that property, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So the other movie I watched was The Circle, which is the evil Tom Hanks Google Apple tech movie.
that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Hermione.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. What? It is a well-made motion picture that is absolute garbage.
Okay.
Like it is slick and well thought out and just the stupidest series of events you could possibly imagine. It's just it's a tech company gone berserk, and you think here comes a character to come in and like point out that it's going completely berserk, and that's not what it is at all. It is literally the origin story of every dystopian nightmare film you've ever seen. Like, think about Johnny Mnemonic, and you're like, how did the world get like this? Watch The Circle.
Okay.
The Circle will explain how any of these future movies got like that. And I give it credit for that being something I've never seen before. But watching it, you're just like, I hate everything about this. Like, they're kind of satirizing what you think Silicon Valley, like, corporate HR type situations are, and it is insufferable. It's just like, okay, we get it. They're all freaks, and they're all in their own little world, and they don't have anything to do with reality. I get it, but are you all right? Okay.
I'm just trying to. It sounds like there's something weird, noise-wise, going on, and I was just trying to listen really hard to see if I could identify it.
Okay.
I don't know. Continue.
But yeah, it's. I can't recommend anyone watch it. I also can't say it's a badly made film. It's a well-made film with an absolute bullshit story. So, I don't know. Depending on what you come to movies for, maybe that's all right. But nope. Absolutely.
Yeah, I
not.
mean, that was one of those movies where, I mean, I don't really watch a lot of TV, and I try to not pay attention to previews, but like, that movie was like a week coming out, and I was like, there's a fucking Tom Hanks movie coming out? Like, that was just like has the world stopped giving a shit about Tom Hanks point?
No, they shit this movie out because they knew it stank. It's weird, too, because like most of the trailers for it were real short. They're like 30, 45-second long trailers. They're not very long, and they basically tell you the whole movie in the trailer.
Right.
It's like... And they lie a little bit, too. The trailers are a little deceptive, so...
Wonderful.
John Boyega's in it for 3 minutes, but he's like second build. So, I don't know. You can tell when this movie ends that they just... Whatever ending they had, they were like, oh god, we have to change it, and... What they came up with was rip large chunks of the movie out and just put it out. So,
okay,
not good. Don't watch The Circle.
Well, you just named 2 movies I probably don't care much about seeing.
Like I said, Why Him is totally fine.
Okay,
like it is worth seeing because it has jokes in it that hit.
Okay.
So there will just be long stretches of oh god, move on from this uncomfortable bit of whatever you're doing. But it's one of those movies where a bunch of people are in it. And that's always fun. I like a bunch of people.
Okay.
I like crowds in my movies.
I like the works of Cecil B. DeMille.
Yes. So those are my movies. I'm done.
Okay.
BJ, you got anything?
I do, sort of. You recall last week where I had caught up almost on Game of Thrones.
I remember.
I am current now on Game of Thrones.
Whoa,
so
all of you use the internet again.
Yeah, I can. All of you out there in internet land who are desperately frothing at the mouth for the next episode, and then desperately trying not to get spoiled because some asshat in HBO Spain accidentally ran the show 5 days early. I'm there with you. I am standing. We are watchers on the wall together. I'm here with you. Watch you.
So I have a question for you.
Okay.
Since you marathoned this show to death,
I did.
In the last week and a half.
2 weeks, averaged 4.5 episodes a day, and I took 3 days off.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So, watching it that close together, that much, is it noticeable to you now this season? How much of the warping around the world that they're doing, how
Absolutely.
ridiculous it is. Well, it's a sharp contrast to the way the previous seasons were, where they would take 10 years to walk through a forest.
Yeah, and also that stuff gets minimized when you're watching it all in one run.
That's what I figured. Week to week, it was like, oh god, they're still in this goddamn forest.
That's because it takes you're waiting a week and you're thinking about it for a week. When it's just... When you just click next episode and it's there, you don't really worry about it. It is, I do notice the speed, but also, so there's a couple things that people have pointed out, like traveling between Dragonstone and King's Landing, like that whole fight, like the people that are able to move around in that timeline, that's a really short distance. From Dragonstone to King's Landing is like from Jacksonville to Tampa.
Oh, that's not bad.
It's not that far. Like, it's not a huge... Dragonstone is just off the coast of King's Landing.
Okay.
And then, another thing is, individuals or small groups of people moving faster than armies, and that's totally a thing. Because, like one man can move far faster than an army can move, because an army has to, like, let's say you got 10,000 people in an army, you got 2,000 people supporting, and you got to put all sorts of shit in wagons, and you can march like 15 miles a day, whereas a guy can ride a horse like 100 miles a day. No big deal.
Yeah.
So,
maybe to the guy, the horse is probably like, motherfucker.
horse might be tired, unless you got like Shadow Mirror or whatever it is.
Shadow effects?
Yeah,
Carfax?
something like that. Carfax.
Yeah.
Carfax the
if
horse.
you've got Carfax. Carfax the horse.
Or Tir na Nog, the horses of Tir na Nog or whatever. But additionally, like, there's a lot of, and this isn't me like going book snob, just FYI, but in the books, one of the sort of framing devices is they will move from a character's point of view. They'll do like 2 weeks of a character's point of view, and then the next chapter is a different character's point of view for that 2 weeks. So they move timelines around. Stuff will happen concurrently, but you will see it from, you will see it in a sort of weird linear time. So they seem to be doing a little bit of that kind of stuff with the show in this season. So it's a little off-putting, but honestly, I don't mind it, because I don't want to watch somebody row a fucking boat for 3 weeks. I
tried 3 years.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
So, I'm fine with it. I don't have the big problem, because, honestly, we got 8 episodes left. 8, 9 episodes left, maybe 6,
if that, yeah.
7, 6, 7, 8 episodes
There's
left.
only like 3 this year.
This year, there's 2 more left this year.
There's 2 more, yeah.
This year, yeah.
And then we've got 6 more. So we got 8 episodes left. So shit needs to happen.
That's
and
true.
I, like, some shit is going to go down these next 2 episodes, because it absolutely has to.
Well, shit has gone down. I mean, like,
well,
this entire
yes,
season has
yes.
been like, okay, we got to get to the shit.
Right. I mean, there were a few slower episodes, earlier, but
Yeah.
these next 2 episodes are going to be like FX budget nightmare for the bean counters, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like, it's been a really enjoyable experience going through it, and especially, and I'm bringing up the Discord again, but like, being able to sort of chat with people while I'm watching the show and kind of bounce things off of people and have fun with that has been a really enjoyable experience. So, and now we're sort of doing it semi-live on Sunday nights. So if you're interested in having some Throne Zone conversation nearly live with us, find the Discord link on the website and have fun with us.
Yeah.
That's all. I love this show still. It's awesome. A little too much rape for my taste, but otherwise awesome.
I think for everyone's taste, really. Yeah.
Well, at least on like some of the movies we watched, anyone perpetrating it usually gets something really bad happen to them.
They do.
Yeah,
Mostly.
usually.
Yeah. Still too much.
Yeah,
Still too much. Yeah.
other than arguably Jamie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, who knows?
Yeah, I know that's questionable.
Still time. There's still
Well,
time.
I mean, I
for
just mean like
shit
it
to happen to
also.
Jamie.
Yeah, whatever.
I'll just touch on this briefly. Like, using rape as a motivational tool in art is way overdone, and I wish people would get away from it. It's like, I understand that it is one of the worst things that can happen to a person, but it happens so often and I know it happens often in real life, but it is used as a tool by script writers and and novel writers. It's so often used. We need to kind of ease back on that, and maybe not use that. Maybe use some other motivations for people for a little while. That is all. Just wanted to.
That's fair.
Tiny soapbox.
Okay.
Tiny soapbox.
Exactly.
I got nothing really. I've been watching TV and Harry Potter movies, which I will maybe one day talk about. I don't know.
Okay.
If I feel like it. I feel like we've done plenty of Harry Potter, so people know about that.
Yeah,
I don't know if they care what I think.
Well, write in if you care about what Harlow thinks.
Let's
Let's get those calls and letters in.
I don't even know if I care what I think. So.
Tell Harlow that you care what he thinks, everybody.
They don't.
Okay. Fair enough. Judgment rules.
Sustained.
Yep. All right. What? Huh? No one objected.
No.
Whatever you say.
All right.
Motion granted.
Case closed.
Case closed.
So,
Opinion dismissed.
if people want to write in and tell Harlow that they do care,
Well, they don't.
If they want to write in for a better reason.
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah. Tell us about your favorite moment in Game of Thrones involving snow. John or otherwise.
Like actual snow.
Yeah, John or actual snow.
I like when winter finally showed up.
Winter came all over the north.
It did, yeah.
Like Peter North.
Yes. Just covered. Anyway, email bmf@bmfcast.com. Go to the website, which is bmfcast.com. Give us a call on the Garfield phone. Give us a call on the Garfield phone, 9105-JOCKS-BMF or 910-556-9263. I don't know what's going on across the table. And one more plug for this little thing called Discord that we're doing, which is a little sort of chat IRC-ish type thing. Check the website. We have a button, and you can join our Discord, and it's a bunch of... it's us and a bunch of other folks who are into the stuff that we're into, and
Super fans.
yeah. Or I mean, you don't have to be a super fan. You can be a regular relaxed ass fan, and just come hang out. We talk about music and video games, and
I wish I could.
regular ass fan.
No, I thought you said relaxed ass fan.
I did.
Yeah, you
Okay.
did.
Yeah.
Regular relaxed ass fan. Which, when you're regular, your ass is pretty relaxed.
That's true, yeah.
Right. But we talk about all sorts of fun stuff, and we have a good time.
Just like this moment right now.
Right. Only it's while we're at work and bored. But check out the website. There's a link to it, and you just set up an account and chat at us. It's fun. I like it.
Yeah.
Other people like it. There are like 30 of us, something like that.
Yeah. Hey,
It's a pretty lively little thing.
do me a favor, guys.
And give us money?
Well, in a minute, let me just talk about
Okay.
let me talk about the Discord for one more second. If you guys have usernames on existing social media, stick with them.
Are you having a hard time keeping things
I'm
straight,
having a
Chuck?
very hard time understanding who is who. And then I have to go into our Slack and ask, who's that? And then everyone explains, that's this person from Twitter, dumbass. And I'm like, oh, all right. Well, I don't know how you knew that, but fine. I don't know. Just put it in parentheses or something. Like, I'm on Twitter most of the time. I know your real names and I know, like, your Twitter handle. But, like, if you're just going to sign up and I'm going to use my PlayStation gamer tag, I'm like, fuck, man.
Or just tell us who you are.
Yeah. Something.
Like
just
when
help,
you pop in,
help
if you
me out.
if you regularly interact with us and we know you by one name.
Or
Yeah.
change your Twitter handle. I don't know. Something. Just have
I'm
some...
just bitching, but still, I mean,
Yeah, Chuck's just bitching.
I'm the oldest person. I'm confused.
old.
Your technology frightens and confuses me. So,
What, fire?
yes. So, please, if you could just stick to one name. Give me whatever name you want. Whatever name you want.
I just need help.
Ooh.
What happened here?
We got real old.
Okay.
Real fast.
Chuck of being as old as he is. Don't know how to use a computer.
Yeah. All right, tell people how to give us money.
Oh, patreon.com/BMFcast. Throw some ducats at us.
Yeah,
It's how we afford cool things like this podcast.
it is. It's how we afford the podcasts. We have to pay to put the podcast out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on a special internet.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I mean, technically we do. We have
We
all
do,
this
yes.
equipment and
Yes, we
electricity and
We do have electricity.
microphones.
Squeaky
and-
ass microphones.
Right.
Yeah.
need
We
to
have to
replace.
spend a lot of money to lubricate these microphones, or else it's even worse. But
I want like a digital tote board on the wall so we can have a running tally.
of how much money we spend on lube,
No,
oh, of what then?
because I don't want to see that number keep going
You
up.
just don't want to see it. It'll just be a
I just
blur.
want it to be zero all the
What the
time.
fuck happened? We're just trying to pitch Patreon here. Seriously.
Did you not hear the part about how much it costs to lube us up? You need to pay attention, man.
Huh.
You need to pay attention, man.
Anyway, I'm Harlow.
No.
That's not how we do this?
No.
Oh.
You want to talk about the Garfield phone?
I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
I wasn't paying.
I did it. Fucking jerks. This is what happens when Mackie's not here to yell at us about ending at 11:30.
Stay on target.
Are we done? Okay. Was that the weirdest ending of all time? Possibly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's get out of here, shall we?
Okay.
I'm Harlow.
I'm BJ.
I'm Chuck.
And this is BMFcast out. Bye.
Don't go in dry, y'all.
Lube it up, lube it up, lube it up, or it's fire.
You don't need lube if you've got Peter North.
Cum is not a lubricant, Chuck.
Yeah, that's an afterthought. I mean, let's get real here for a second.
Did you see the moment where the needle was like, do I say that, Joe? Do I say that or not? And you can quote me.
Cum is like an afterthought. Well, I guess if you got that going on. Yeah, it just has.
You know, love is a battlefield, and cum is an afterthought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's.
These are all true things.
Oh God, I can't believe we just asked for money.
No, I can't either. Can't believe that I've never made the winners coming Peter North of the Wall before joke.
King in the North. That's his. That's
How
his
has there not
late gay
been a
porno.
Game of Thrones
I
porn
don't
parody
know.
where they're just constantly shouting?
Was that guy not with us anymore?
No, he's still with us.
Oh, he's still with us?
He's
Okay.
still working.
Sorry, I don't know. I mean, I just assume anyone from the 80s is dead.
No.
Especially in porn.
No. There's
Okay.
like 3 dudes from the 80s who are still making porn, and it's just like, oh God. But I don't know how I know that.
What the fuck happened?
I know how you know it. You fucking freak.
How?
Because you're a freak.
Oh.
Not
Yeah.
that there's anything wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it.
I wish my Chucky was a freak like me.
Are we done? Is this show over?
Oh,
Yeah, last show ever.
yeah,
we're done.
We're afterthoughting.
Yeah. I know
I mean, whew. And I'm spent.
Yeah.
Chuck, don't make me a sandwich.
Gotta clean up the Santorum.
I forgot that was the word for gross things.
What was it?
Santorum.
Oh, like
It's
like Rick
a
Santorum?
mix of cum, lube, and shit.
Yep.
After anal sex.
Is it?
Yeah,
Yes, that's what it was.
the gays.
The gays.
Which is what we called them back in the days. What was it, back in the 90s or something?
No, this was when Rick Santorum was running for president. It was like 2004, 2008.
Okay,
something like
yeah.
that.
So that's practically the 90s
Yeah.
because it seems like it forever ago. But yeah, they're like, yeah, we're going to just decide that Rick Santorum's name
Yeah.
is
Well, it was Dan Savage, I think, who
foul thing.
did it, who coined it.
All right.
So
I approve.
He wanted that to be the first thing that came up when he Googled his name.
That's right.
Let's see if it's still accurate. For fun.
Guess that gives Doctor Strange's house a really weird thought.
A frothy mixture of lubricant and fecal matter as an occasional byproduct of anal sex. Oh, I thought it included cum.
Oh, it's BYOC.
I always come prepared. No, usually I don't.
Like
It's
pre-baked?
No, it's usually a surprise.
Like the shrimp
to
cocktail
everybody.
they could have had ready for
Right.
the vice president.
No, it's usually a surprise to everyone involved.
What the shit did happen to us here?
It's cum hour on the BMFcast. Yeah, get back to that chair, Chuck.
Crank up here.
Oh, so glad
You can crank up as long as you don't crank out.
I'm so glad that you tuned in to see men talk about this.
I don't know. I don't know what else to say now.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm gonna turn this off now before we keep talking about bodily fluids. Night, everybody.